Sagicor Bank, supporting businesses with guidance and services to create the recipe for success. The Time by Sagicor Bank is
CVM News at 7 Wednesday headlines, courtesy of Heart NSDA Trust, Jamaica's Human Development Agency.
Coming up in CVM News at 7, Cooper's Pen constitutional claim, lawsuit filed in the Supreme Court over pre-dawn detention of 20 men by the police ahead of controversial demolition exercise. Sue them. Health and Wellness Minister reminds public it can seek redress through courts in cases of poor patient care. Property tax dodgers beware. Tax Administration and KSAMC team up to recover millions of dollars. And in sports, Jamaica Kings men bid farewell to Sabina Park on a winning note.
From the market to the farm to the office, money talk is everywhere. But are you making sense or nonsense? The Bank of Jamaica brings you common sense with BOJ. Real stories, real laughs, and real lessons to help you protect, grow, and manage your money. Mattress savings.
At least my mattress. You charge me to sleep on it.
Partner plan.
Remember last year we needed our payouts early? But Miss Pam gave it to her cousin first.
Or a sketchy loan flyer.
Electrifying deals.
See why making the right financial choices is pure common sense. Brought to you by Bank of Jamaica, empowering everyday Jamaicans one episode at a time.
Grandpa, it's 2026. You can't keep hiding all your money in every single pocket forever.
Watagwan.
Watagwan.
Datagwan pa.
Watagwan.
Watagwan. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8 a.m., 1:30 p.m., and 10 p.m. on CVM TV.
Datagwan pa. Watagwan.
CVM News at 7 Wednesday, courtesy of.
Seize the next IPO opportunity seamlessly with the Sagicor e-Invest.
From Kingston, Jamaica, this is CVM News at 7 for Wednesday, August 19, 2026. I'm Nika Lewis. Thank you for joining us. Attorney at law Donovan Collins has filed a constitutional claim in the Supreme Court, alleging the constitutional rights of 20 men from Cooper's Pen in Trelawny were breached during a pre-dawn police operation that preceded the demolition of their homes. With the details, here's Carla Ramdeen.
Attorney at law Donovan Collins says the men were detained and taken to the Falmouth police station around 3 a.m. last week, but were released between 2 and 3 p.m. the same day without being charged.
What we have done is to file a claim in the Supreme Court where we are claiming for false imprisonment of these men, as well as other breaches of the men's constitutional rights, such as their constitutional rights to privacy, constitutional rights to liberty. As based on our instructions, the police took their phones, forced them to open their phones, search their phones. There were also complaints of some of the men receiving beating to open their phones. And certainly that's a breach of their constitutional right to privacy.
While Mr. Collins accepts the Bail Act permits the police to detain a person for up to 48 hours, he notes that there has to be reasonable suspicion.
The legislation didn't say suspicion. It said reasonable suspicion. So unless the police had reasonable suspicion that you committed an offense, then the detention could be very well unlawful. And what we're saying here, that the detention of the men in Cooper's Pen were unlawful.
The attorney is also alleging the men were not questioned in the presence of an attorney or justice of the peace.
None of these men were told of the reasons why the police were detaining them. They were told nothing. The police came based on my instructions. They forcefully removed them and locked them up in the cell. And they were released without charge or anything substantial, investigative for that matter being done. And we hope that this is not repeated in Jamaica. Again, it cannot continue. Our forefathers fought for us to have our rights, our constitutional rights, and it ought to be respected.
Mr. Collins added that he expects the men to be compensated.
And certainly you can see that they need the compensation now. They have nowhere to live. They have no money in mind. Well, at this stage I won't speak about that. Okay. But as much as they can get.
Carla Ramdeen, CVM News.
Residents and stakeholders in Port Royal are raising concerns about flooding in their community. Questions now being asked about whether ongoing development could be contributing to the problem. The concerns come amid the expansion of the Norman Manley International Airport. Here's Javoney Hamilton with more.
Member of Parliament for East Kingston and Port Royal, Philip Polwell, is raising concerns about flooding in Port Royal. The MP claims the flooding has worsened amid the expansion of the Norman Manley International Airport.
Recently, we are seeing the phenomenon in Port Royal where during high tide, the water is now invading the homes, the roads, in Port Royal. I believe that a better approach would have been to expand the runway going into the Caribbean Sea. And you could achieve that by lowering the main road and running the runway over it. If you go to JFK Airport, you still do that and maintain the security. But that is where you should have done up and create additional space. And I don't believe it is too late for that to happen.
In the meantime, the Jamaica Environment Trust, JET, says the flooding is not linked to the airport expansion. JET's Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Teresa Rodriguez-Moody, says based on discussions with the National Environment and Planning Agency, NEPA, there is no established connection between the two.
My understanding from NEPA, Port Royal has been complaining of the issues of high tide impacting the community. There are some solid waste issues that I understand are compounding that problem as well. So I think that there are multiple issues there, and I think that it has to be addressed in a more holistic way, looking at the drainage, are they adequate, looking at the coastal protection for Port Royal, looking at the fact that, well, it is, you know, much of the town, a lot of the town I think is below sea level, so that alone is a problem. When you have higher sea levels, right, you know, when there is high tide or when there are other related issues, climate-related issues, we do have to consider all of that.
Dr. Rodriguez-Moody says more dialogue is also needed between fishers and those overseeing the airport expansion regarding how the development could affect their livelihoods.
what we had expressed concern over was the fact that there needed to have been a little bit more information. For example, you're going to have this, I think they indicated they were going to have like a grievance assessment committee. Were there going to be official representatives on it? Who is going to conduct the monitoring? So there is monitoring that has to take place to make sure that there is, the whatever expansion is taking place does not breach permits. We had asked questions like, is there going to be an independent consultant? Is it you monitoring? Is it NEPA? Will officials receive copies of the monitoring reports? Those are some of the questions.
Kevin Black for CVM News.
Meanwhile, CVM News has been receiving reports from some people at the Norman Manley International Airport of alleged outages there, impacting matters and issues to relate to luggages. We understand that there was a power outage and that some customers or travelers have been saying they have not been able to access their luggages. We are already making checks and we'll have more in this developing story. As the Caribbean Examinations Council, CXC, moves to make examinations more flexible and responsive to students' needs, the regional body is also looking at how artificial intelligence, or AI, is changing the way students learn and complete school-based assessments. Carla Ramdeen has more.
CXC Registrar and CEO Dr. Wayne Wesley says the council has re-examined its approach to learning, focusing on learner preference, pace and depth. He says the modular CTEC exam offers a flexibility, stackable approach tailored to individual needs, contributing to the success of the mathematics pilot.
In fact, I described it the other day as fit, focused, individualized training that caters to the need of the student. Students can now learn at their own pace, at the rate at which they want to move, the amount of content they want to concentrate on at any one time, and the style in which and preference within which they would want to progress in their own career and certification.
The CXC boss also says the approach will be introduced gradually across subjects, with most expected to be on board by 2028.
As of September, we have actually started already with several CTEC modules in mathematics, English, and other subjects, integrated science and those areas, to begin to roll out in a general way. So every year, we are going to have additional subjects coming on. And we are expecting that by at least 2028, most subjects that are able to come on will come on. The trajectory is to ensure that students are given the maximum opportunity for success.
But as CXC moves toward more flexible examinations, the council is also keeping a close eye on examination integrity. Director of Operations Dr. Nicole Manning says there has been instances of AI misuse, particularly in school-based assessments. The council is also seeing a repeat of candidates using cell phones during examinations, a practice Dr. Manning is urging students to refrain from engaging in.
So it's not that there aren't invigilators. You have a ratio of invigilators right across, and they're standing various places in the rooms. You even have another layer of supervisor in terms of the management, secure administration of the exams. What I find, though, is that students believe that they can find creative ways in bringing in these devices. And we have to understand some of the creative ways I would not even describe in public media. But I will say to you that, of course, in the pockets, even if you search, and you have to be careful, remember, we're dealing with minors. So it is important that we understand that really people find different ways of taking in that cell phone in the examination room. But popularly within their on their person, within pockets and other things like that.
Meanwhile, Dr. Wesley says CXC is embarking on a way to reform SBAs with the introduction of a task force, which will account for how AI is impacting the teaching, learning and assessment landscape.
So far, CXC has embraced artificial intelligence. We have already put out the Artificial Intelligence Generative Responsible AI policy framework for member states across the region to use to develop their national policy. We have put out there standards and guidelines for the US use of AI in SBAs and other assessment, and we are now working on ensuring that the authentic nature of AI is used for the preparation of students. And when students are demonstrating their competence, it must be their actual competence that we are assessing and not that of AI.
Carla Ramdeen, CVM News.
Lots more to come from CVM News at 7 in just a moment.
Smart TV, PS5, and home upgrade. Turn up your winnings this summer with Digicel. Sign up or switch to postpaid or Digicel Plus. Buy a SIM. Top up with 5 bills or more. Buy a 7-day plan or higher. A smartphone deal or just pay your bill. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act. Promotion period June 24 to September 5, 2026. Visit DigicelJamaica.com for terms and conditions.
Before the first patty is baked, they are hands that grow what we need. For Jamaica, by Jamaicans. Through every season and challenge, they built with us. They believed. To every farmer, thank you.
Could I afford the mortgage? At my age, how long would the bank give me to repay?
Sometimes the answers you're looking for are right in front of you. With a Sagicor Bank intergenerational mortgage,
Mom, what?
You can join forces with any family member to own your home easier. Create more with a Sagicor Bank intergenerational mortgage.
Before
Thanks so much for staying with us. We're still in the local news. Transport Minister Darrell Vaz says road fatalities and accidents involving students have reduced significantly since the implementation of the National Rural School Bus System almost a year ago. The minister revealed that based on surveys conducted by the Planning Institute of Jamaica, PIOJ, there are no records of students being injured using the rural bus system. Natasha Williams has the details.
An overwhelming success. That's how Transport Minister Darrell Vaz describes the services provided by the rural school bus system since its introduction in 2025. This as he points to decreases in crashes and fatalities involving students as a major achievement.
I'm very pleased to say that we have not had one fatality, not one student fatality, and neither have we had any serious injury either. So bottom line is that it has a flawless track record so far, and obviously that is very, very, very heartening based on obviously what we were experiencing before. So in essence, what we are doing is taking 13,000 children out of harm's way, in traveling them in a fit-for-purpose bus that can sustain obviously any eventuality in terms of any kind of incident or accident.
Additionally, Mr. Vaz notes that with the system filling a huge gap for especially low-income families with the subsidized fares, the data revealed that students' attendance and punctuality have also improved.
Based on the PIOJ, you would have seen where we have a 80% improvement in punctuality and 90% in terms of school attendance. So that in itself is big numbers, and obviously the important thing about that is that they are getting to school in a safe, secure, and stressless manner. Meaning that they board the bus and they're among their peers and they go to school rather than having to take the other types of transportation, which offer great levels of stress in terms of the period they have to wait to get the bus and the method in which they have to travel.
Recently, one of the school buses caught fire in Manchester, reigniting concerns about the safety of the buses. But the Transport Minister sought to assure the public that all safety protocols are in place.
In the particular case of the school bus that caught on fire a week or two ago, that investigation is active and it has a forensic aspect to it to see whether or not there's any foul play. But just to say that there are provisions on the school buses as they are on the JUTC buses in the eventuality of a fire in terms of fire extinguishers and protocols that are to be observed for the safety of the passengers.
Minister Vaz also revealed that with 110 school buses now in the system, the ministry is prepared to make adjustments to facilitate the Education Ministry's efforts to merge a number of schools. He notes that an additional 100 buses will be in the system for the school term next year. Natasha Williams, CVM News.
Newly appointed president of the Jamaica Teachers Association, JTA, Lestania Harrison, has criticized the government for moving forward digitally while many schools and special needs students, in particular, are being left behind. She stressed that the position of accommodating special needs children in regular classrooms cannot be the government's general response. Harrison made the comments during her opening speech at her swearing-in ceremony at the JTA's 62nd annual conference on Monday.
Where is the retrofitting of these hard, crowded, basic chair and table provided spaces to accommodate special needs children? They need sensory materials, safe zone spaces, cushion bean bags, and silent areas and other manipulatives. Why this push for digital transformation when basic resources are not afforded to all schools? Equity is what we need in all our schools.
Ms. Harrison therefore shares this recommendation.
Teachers already with degrees in special education need to be targeted to complete specialized training for us to assemble a complete team of behavioral psychologists, speech pathologists, occupational therapists, child psychologists, among others. How far are we in this process in identifying those teachers and others interested in being trained, knowing that they must give back some years of service to Jamaica before they're able to ply their trade elsewhere? We need to get on it. Time is of essence.
Meanwhile, as the summer break winds down, consultant pediatrician Dr. Tracy Evans-Gilbert is warning parents that danger can lurk in the home. From burns and choking to accidental poisoning, she says simple safety measures could prevent tragedy. More in this report from Javoney Hamilton.
For children, curiosity can come with consequences. As the summer winds down, pediatrician Dr. Tracy Evans-Gilbert is warning parents about everyday hazards that can quickly turn dangerous, from burns and choking to accidental poisoning.
Our plastic surgery specialists tell us that children have been affected by scalds. They've been burned with hot water or oil, and they have had to be admitted to the hospital for that. Our ENT specialist, that's the ear, nose, and throat specialist, told us that children are choking on small objects like guineps. But recently, the button batteries, they've been pushing it in their nostrils or their ears, or they've been swallowing it. And these button batteries causes some serious problems where they release a chemical that erodes their nose and their airway. And these children sometimes have to have multiple surgeries after they've ingested it.
She says extra care is needed when it comes to what children can find around the home, including medications and recreational drugs.
The other thing that we've been seeing over the summer are children ingesting their grandma's medication or recreational drugs. So I know sometimes people are smoking ganja, they leave it around, the children are exposed to it. Even some of the younger children may want to just see what it's like. Be careful about the recreational drugs, be careful about the medication.
And with just a small amount potentially proving fatal, she is urging parents to keep medications properly secured and out of children's reach. A simple precaution, she says, that could be the difference between a close call and a tragedy.
Medications around the house or recreational drugs, if they have access to it, it's very dangerous because a small child taking one tablet of grandma's medicine can be fatal. So it's really important that all medications be kept in a high shelf, closed closet away from the reach of children. I always tell the mommies and daddies, if you have a small child crawling around, you lie down on the ground and you scope it while you're flat, because that is what your baby is going to see. Your baby is going to pick up the cockroach leg or grandma medicine that drop on the ground, and you will not see it when you're standing tall.
Javoney Hamilton, CVM News.
In other news now, a wanted man was on Tuesday evening fatally shot in an alleged confrontation with the police in Westgate Hills in St. James. He has been identified as Anwood Hines, otherwise called Kirky. Hines was previously charged and in lockup for a quadruple murder in Ginger Hill, St. Elizabeth on May 27, 2015. Hines had been on the run since June 19, 2023. It was reported he escaped the Black River Police Station lockup when 8 other inmates absconded. One of those inmates, Javon Sims from Copperwood in St. James, remains at large. Hines is among 3 of the escapees killed in an alleged confrontation or in alleged confrontations with the police. The other escapees are Dean Simpson and Oral Cole. Simpson, a resident of Turner Top in St. Elizabeth, was killed by the police in November 2023. Cole was fatally shot by police on April 2, 2026 in southern Trelawny. Another escapee, Alric Hutchinson, was found dead in September 2023. 3 other escapees were recaptured. They are Richard Brown, Kenneth Stewart, and Damar Williams. The Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF, is now equipped with a digital recording device for interviews with suspects and witnesses. The device will also be used by the Major Organized Crime and Anti-Corruption Agency, MOCA, for more integrated investigations supported by technology. Crystal Williams tells us more.
The portable digital interview recorder, donated to the Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF, by the Pan American Development Foundation, PADF, is designed to assist special agents from the Major Organized Crime and Anti-Corruption Agency, MOCA, in managing major crime investigations and digital evidence. According to PADF consultant Judy-Ann Edwards, the device functions as an independent witness and may reduce the need for certain court proceedings.
So it's twofold, and even though demonstration was in relation to a suspect, I want investigators and the JCF to train its members in relation to using it for both witnesses and suspects.
The Evidence Special Measures Act already provides a legislative framework for the video recording of witness interviews. Ms. Edwards notes a provision within the Act that has never been utilized. Pre-recorded interviews may be admitted as evidence in chief in court.
We will now activate the utilization of that aspect of the legislation, and there is the regulations, the Evidence Special Measures regulations, that gives you the specific rules in terms of what to do and what not to do in relation to the interviewing of the witnesses, the procedure, etc.
She says additional evidence in chief will be accepted by the court once it is required. In relation to witness statements from children or the elderly, she says these pre-recorded interviews prove more effective and time-sensitive.
When the tribunal of fact is able to see the witness being video recorded, they're able to observe the demeanor, see them, then that has greater value. Not that the statement is not valuable, but there perhaps give more weight to the video recorded evidence.
Crystal Williams reporting for CVM News.
We take a break. Stay with us.
KFC Summer Bucket.
Chicken, Macadillo, super chicken.
This KFC bucket deal has you thinking chicken. Get the summer bucket for $4,700. KFC Summer Bucket. This KFC bucket deal has you thinking chicken. Get the summer bucket for $4,700.
The time by KFC is 7:30.
Now's the time to create those feel-good days. At Courts, find what you need to make your home a place that feels good with up to $60,000 off select items. Get AC starting at $52,999, plus save on TVs, appliances, furniture, mattresses, and more. Get it all with a payment plan you'll feel good about. It's all about feel-good days. Brought to you by Courts, bringing value home. Offers end August 31st, 2026. Conditions apply.
Watagwan.
Watagwan.
Datagwan pa.
Watagwan. Watagwan.
Watagwan. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8 a.m., 1:30 p.m., and 10 p.m. on CVM TV.
Datagwan pa. Watagwan.
Welcome back. The Bank of Jamaica is experiencing changes with the appointment of a new governor. With this appointment, critics are sharing their expectations and issues to be fixed within the sector. We hear more from Crystal Williams.
Development economist Dr. Nelson Stokes is expecting changes at the Bank of Jamaica under incoming Governor Richard Boston. He says lowering inflation will be one of the key challenges facing the new governor. He was speaking on CVM's lead story on Monday.
Inflation low is I think is an important challenge as we go forward, especially given the high import portion of Jamaica's inflation. So you'll have to think about that carefully and take an approach that while you're trying to calm inflation, you don't continue to put downward pressure on businesses by raising interest rates, which is the classic play in terms of dampening inflation. I think that needs a rethink, frankly.
He notes that financial sector stability should also be a priority for the incoming governor.
He needs to defend the hard-won gains, independence of the central bank. He's a hardcore economist. I expect him to engage in robust dialogue with the IMF and not just accept what they have set down. I think he has spoken already about modernizing the role of the central bank, and he recently did a paper on digital money in central banks and small economies. These things become important as Jamaica tries to find its space in tomorrow's world, and we see what must happen with the Jamaican digital currency and so on. But first things first, financial sector stability and trying to keep inflation down within the range.
Dr. Stokes says several factors must be considered when assessing inflation and its impact on Jamaicans.
The second thing that we need to continue to monitor is the basket of goods that goes into measuring inflation, the consumer price index and so on, to make sure it reflects, and we mustn't be afraid of this, make sure it reflects the lived reality of the population, because there's no point saying it's 4% when the things that I buy have gone up 20 and 30%. We also need to be careful about fuel price changes and prices in food items in Jamaica, which tends to fluctuate with demand and supply shocks, hurricanes, war in the Middle East, and so on. So he does have his hands full to keep core inflation low, and to the extent that he can moderate shocks that will invariably have.
Dr. Langren, who holds a PhD in economics from Pennsylvania State University, says he is honored to serve at this pivotal moment. He pledged to preserve the bank's credibility, keep inflation low and stable, and advance financial system modernization for the benefit of all Jamaicans. He succeeds Richard Biles, who steered monetary policy through the COVID-19 pandemic, global inflation shocks, and 2 major hurricanes. Crystal Williams, CVM News.
Jamaica is getting a new consul general in New York as Oliver Mayer moves on from his post in Miami. The transition comes with a significantly larger mandate, with the New York mission serving Jamaica's largest diaspora community across 33 states. Kevin Black tells us more.
Jamaica's new Consul General in New York is taking on a much larger area of responsibility. The New York mission covers 33 states and serves Jamaica's largest diaspora community, with the consulate providing services including passports, citizenship, and other support to Jamaicans abroad. Speaking with Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness, Consul General Oliver Mayer says he is ready for the move after more than 7 years serving in Miami.
I've had a very good run in Florida. We covered 13 states, and the community is extremely supportive over the last 7.5 years. But I'm equally excited to work with the community in the Northeast, and they have already started to reach out to me. I'm looking forward to working with them. It's a much bigger mission, 33 states, our largest Jamaican diaspora community in the world. So it's an honor to serve the team there, serve Jamaica.
He also explains how that work differs from the role of the ambassador.
The ambassador is the head of the mission. You know, they're ultimately in charge. They will deal with the more diplomatic relationship between the country to country, you know, the bilateral relationship. We will be a little bit more granular, so to speak. We get into the nooks and cracks.
You serve the interests of the Jamaican community in the foreign country.
That's right. So Jamaica and Jamaicans. And so everybody will reach out to us, you know, whether it's the churches, the alumni groups, universities. We do the ones that do the prison visits.
He says the consulate works with community members and health professionals to provide food, healthcare, and other forms of support.
We had, the borders were closed for 2 months, and we had, just in our region alone, over 2,500 Jamaicans were stranded. And, you know, just working with the community, we were able to, you know, put up individuals, working with the community of food and healthcare, and the doctors rallied together, and, you know, we looked after them until they were able to return home to Jamaica.
Kevin Black reporting for CVM News.
Returning home to Jamaica now, a donation valued at $1.8 million blew into Princess Margaret Hospital in St. Thomas. The industrial fans were sent by Masonic Homes to support the facility, as Crystal Williams tells you now.
Chairman of the Masonic Homes, Dr. Donald Reynolds, says it is their intention to further contribute to health systems across the island. He says before heading into St. Thomas, they made a quick stop in Kingston at the Bustamante Hospital and donated $1 million.
The objective is to do charitable work among the aged and infirm in a society. Recently, we have given $2 million to United Way to help with hurricane relief. We have given another $2 million to the Victoria Jubilee Hospital to buy equipment for children.
As the summer months continue, Parish Manager for the St. Thomas Health Services, Steve Riley, says the Princess Margaret Hospital now benefits from a donation totaling $1.8 million.
These are funds that will be used on the wards, and to ensure that the staff, the patients, and the visitors will be feeling more comfortable utilizing this facility.
Crystal Williams reporting for CVM News.
We now head over to regional and international news.
We begin with news in Guyana. A back-to-back national women's chess champion is among the outstanding performers at this year's CSEC exams. The Queen's College student wrote 18 subjects, securing 13 grade 1s and 5 grade 2s. She spoke with News from Guyana.
Originally, I was in the industrial arts tech stream at my school, and
Normally, that amounts to 12 subjects. But the thing with it is that as it relates to my aspirations and ambitions, I'm not exactly certain as to what field I want to pursue. So I figured that I should have done subjects from the other streams to have, I guess, for versatility purposes or to have like a bigger background.
On the international scene, violent robbers and kidnappers are continuing across northern Nigeria, prompting some communities to turn to local vigilante groups for protection. Al Jazeera has the details.
The streets, paths, and the bushland they patrol are familiar terrain. That is because these vigilantes come from the very communities they're trying to protect. They not only confront armed groups, but provide critical intelligence to security forces. Nigeria's federal government controls the country's security forces, but Parliament recently passed legislation allowing states to establish their own police forces.
And finally, Thai schools conducted active shooter drills as authorities moved to strengthen security measures 2 weeks after a 14-year-old opened fire at a school and at home, killing 7 people. Reuters has an inside look.
อย่างแรกก็คือตั้งสตินะครับแล้วตอบสนองเหตุนะครับด้วยความมีสตินะครับหลักการ active shooter ง่ายๆนะครับเอาตัวเองออกจากปัญหาหนีถ้าทำได้นะครับเมื่อหนีไม่ได้เลือกการซ่อนในที่มิดชิดนะครับไม่ส่งเสียงนะครับสุดท้ายถ้าซ่อนแล้ว
And that's it for regional and international news. I'm Matthew Wright.
We take a break. Sports is next.
Imagine if I wasn't wearing a seatbelt. Prevention is critical. That's why I recommend Colgate Total.
It's 15 times more effective at fighting the root cause of oral health problems. Prevent problems before they.
Employers, once a month, you have the power to shape Jamaica's future. By paying your hard 3% contribution, you're not just contributing, you're investing in people, in skills, in our economy. Your hard contribution trains working-age Jamaicans, aligns programs with workforce needs, and secures our future. That's not just contribution, it's transformation. Contribute to heart and to your future.
Could I afford the mortgage? At my age, how long would the bank give me to repay?
Sometimes the answers you're looking for are right in front of you. With a Sagicor Bank intergenerational mortgage,
Mom, what?
You can join forces with any family member to own your home easier. Create more with a Sagicor Bank intergenerational mortgage.